The Galactic Empire, an unstoppable force that spanned across hundreds of star systems, had long controlled the fates of countless planets. Its rule was absolute, its fleets unmatched, and its influence stretched across the galaxy like a shadow that would never fade. But all of that was about to change. The Empire had set its eyes on Earth. A small, insignificant planet in the far reaches of the galaxy, Earth had been largely ignored by the Empire for centuries. It was a quiet, peaceful world with little military power or interstellar influence. To the Empire, Earth was just another rock orbiting a star, ripe for conquest. They needed a new route to unexplored parts of the galaxy, and Earth lay in their path. In a matter of weeks, the Empire sent a massive fleet toward Earth, a symbol of their might. 100 ships, each larger than anything Earth had ever seen, entered the solar system, prepared to demand Earth's submission. The leaders of the Empire were confident. No one had ever resisted them before. Why would Earth be any different? The Galactic Empire's ambassador, a tall, sharp-eyed official named Joren, stood aboard the flagship's bridge as the fleet approached Earth. He wore the traditional red robes of the Empire, signifying his high rank. Beside him, his team of diplomats prepared their speeches, ready to deliver the demands that Earth could not possibly refuse. Joren smiled. This will be easy. No one ever dares challenge the Empire. Earth is too weak. As the fleet entered Earth's orbit, they sent a simple but powerful message to the planet's leaders. You are under the jurisdiction of the Galactic Empire. We demand permission to pass through your system. Refuse, and face the consequences. The message was delivered in every language known to humankind. The Empire's power, their cold and imposing ships, hovered above the world like dark clouds. It was a clear declaration that the galaxy was now under their control. However, no one had expected what came next. The response from Earth was immediate. It wasn't a fearful plea for mercy or an urgent attempt to negotiate. Instead, Earth sent back a message of its own, one that would stun the galaxy. No passage will be granted. Return to your stars or face the consequences. The words sent shockwaves through the Empire's ranks. The message came from Earth's unified government, a council of leaders from all over the planet. It was simple, direct, and filled with a calm, unshakable resolve. Joren stared at the message in disbelief. His fingers hovered over the communication console as he replayed the message again and again. How could this be? How could a tiny planet, with no weapons of mass destruction or advanced technology, defy the might of the Galactic Empire? Joren turned to his subordinates, but they were just as stunned as he was. This is a mistake, he muttered, his voice filled with confusion and irritation. Earth cannot possibly refuse us. We are the Empire. We've crushed entire civilizations, and now we'll do the same to them. But as Joren's thoughts raced, something about the message gnawed at him. It wasn't just the words. They were confident, unwavering, as if Earth had prepared for this moment for years. And in the back of his mind, he couldn't shake the feeling that Earth's leaders were not afraid of the Empire. No, they were calm. It was almost as if they knew something that the Empire didn't. Back on Earth, world leaders gathered in a secure underground command center, away from the eyes of the world. The room was filled with tension, but also an undeniable sense of purpose. For the first time in history, Earth was facing a real threat, a threat that could end all of humanity's hopes and dreams. Yet, instead of fear, there was determination. "We've been waiting for this," said President Elena Hayes, her voice firm as she stood at the center of the room. "We have prepared, and we will not back down. It's time for the galaxy to understand who we are." General Marcus Doyle, the head of Earth's defense forces, nodded. "Our weapons are ready. Project Aegis is in place. If they want to challenge us, they will find that Earth is not the weak, helpless world they think it is." Hayes turned to the rest of the room. "The Empire has always conquered planets with fear. But we will show them something different. We will show them that Earth is not to be underestimated." As the command center buzzed with activity, the people of Earth received their first news of the conflict. On screens across the world, the message from the Empire was broadcasted, followed by Earth's bold response. Humanity watched with a mixture of awe and disbelief. They knew that this would change everything. For the first time, Earth had declared itself a force to be reckoned with. In the dark void of space, the Empire's fleet hovered above Earth, waiting for a response. But the message from Earth made one thing clear: the Empire would not get its way. Not without a fight. And as Joran stared out at Earth's pale blue dot, he realized that the galaxy had underestimated humanity. This was only the beginning. The Galactic Empire was not accustomed to rejection. For centuries, they had crushed all who stood in their way, never once encountering a resistance that lasted more than a few days. So when Earth sent its firm no to the Empire's demand for passage, the response from the Empire was swift. Almost too swift. Ambassador Joran and his team worked tirelessly to come up with a plan. They believed that Earth, despite its bold words, could not possibly hold out against the Empire's might for long. But they underestimated one critical factor: humanity's hidden strength. Back on Earth, leaders from all over the planet had gathered in a secure facility deep beneath the surface. The Council was an assembly of the best minds Earth had to offer: scientists, military leaders, engineers, and diplomats, each working together to find a solution. Despite the apparent calm on the surface, the situation was tense. The stakes could not have been higher. General Marcus Doyle, the head of Earth's defense forces, had been working on something that had remained a secret for years: Project Aegis, a network of planetary defense systems that, if activated, could make Earth nearly invulnerable to any external attack. What the Empire didn't know was that Earth had spent decades preparing for a day like this, though the world's governments had kept the project hidden from their citizens until now. In the underground command center, General Doyle stood in front of a large holographic display, his fingers hovering over a glowing control panel. "Activate the shield," he ordered, his voice firm. A series of switches clicked into place, and Earth's defense grid came to life. The energy surged through hidden towers scattered around the planet's surface, and an invisible shield began to form, wrapping the entire planet in a layer of protection. On the surface, no one saw the changes. The shield was invisible to the naked eye. It was a barrier designed to block anything the Empire could throw at it: lasers, missiles, even entire fleets. Earth scientists had designed the system using advanced energy fields, capable of deflecting nearly any attack. The Empire would have no idea what hit them. Meanwhile, on the flagship of the Empire's fleet, Joran stared at the reports coming in from his scouts. "There's something wrong," he muttered to himself. "There's a strange energy signature coming from the planet. It's unlike anything we've encountered before." The Empire's sensors were powerful, but Earth's defenses had been designed with one key advantage in mind: they were specifically designed to avoid detection. The Empire's scouts had missed the shield entirely. Earth wasn't just hiding behind technology. They had prepared for this day in ways the Empire could not have imagined. The people of Earth had been quietly working on advancements in science and technology for generations, far beyond what the Empire believed possible for such a primitive world. Despite the advanced systems in place, the most powerful weapon Earth had wasn't its technology, it was its people. Earth's greatest strength had always been its ability to adapt, to overcome seemingly impossible odds, and to unite in the face of a common enemy. The Empire's fleet was now preparing for a full-scale invasion. Joran had hoped to simply intimidate Earth into submission, but this unexpected turn of events had forced him to reconsider his approach. He had always been confident in the Empire's power, but now he was beginning to doubt it. How could Earth, a planet with no starships and no intergalactic alliances, defend itself so effectively? Meanwhile, back on Earth, President Alina Hayes stood before a group of international leaders, all gathered to discuss the next steps. "We've known the Empire wouldn't back down easily," she said, her voice steady. But this is our chance to show the galaxy who we are. Our technology may be advanced, but it's our spirit that will see us through. The Empire will not take us without a fight." Her words rang with a deep sense of pride. The leaders of Earth were not driven by fear. They were motivated by something far stronger, the desire to protect their planet, their homes, and their way of life. Earth had never been a place of easy victories, but it had always been a place of fierce determination. In the days that followed, Earth's people mobilized. Nations put aside old conflicts and began to work together for the first time in history. Scientists, engineers, and civilians alike worked around the clock to improve Earth's defenses, sending drones and satellites to monitor the movements of the Empire's fleet. The world watched as Earth's people united, each doing their part to ensure the survival of their planet. As the Empire's ships loomed above Earth, the people of Earth held their breath. The Galactic Empire, with its fleets and its technology, was powerful, but they had underestimated one thing: humanity's will to fight. The Empire thought they were dealing with a helpless, unarmed planet. They could not have been more wrong. The message from Earth had been clear from the start: no passage will be granted. And now, with Earth's hidden strength revealed, the Empire would have to face the full force of a planet united by one simple truth: Earth would not go down without a fight. The Empire was growing frustrated. Each attempt to breach Earth's defenses had failed. For every move they made, Earth had a counter. The Empire's fleet had now been stationed in orbit for over a week, but they had made little progress. Every time they tried to send probes or scout ships into Earth's atmosphere, they were met with a mysterious and powerful force that blocked their every move. Ambassador Duran paced the command bridge of his flagship, his brow furrowed in frustration. "We've underestimated them," he muttered, staring out at the blue planet below. "This is not just a minor planet. Earth is hiding something." Duran's fleet had tried everything, from sending unmanned ships to studying Earth from a distance, but every attempt had been thwarted by a series of energy fields that they could not explain. It was as if Earth had been prepared for this moment, as if they had known the Empire would one day come to their doorstep. In the vast halls of the Imperial Command Center, officials were beginning to question the assumptions they had made about Earth. Some argued that Earth was simply lucky, while others believed they were dealing with something much more dangerous. "Perhaps we've been too quick to dismiss them," one officer said. "These humans have a remarkable ability to adapt. Perhaps they have something we don't understand." Duran, however, was not ready to give up. "We've dealt with much more powerful civilizations than this. Earth's technology may be primitive, but they have no idea what they're up against. We'll break through, one way or another." While the Empire's leadership focused on their mission to invade Earth, something unusual was happening back on the planet. Earth's people had already begun to notice the strange events unfolding in the sky, and they were more determined than ever to protect their world. Across the globe, news of the Empire's fleet had spread like wildfire. People watched in awe as massive ships hovered above their cities, their sheer size and power a stark reminder of the Empire's might. But what no one had expected was the sudden wave of unity that gripped the people of Earth. Across nations, cultures, and borders, humanity began to pull together in a way they never had before. President Elena Hayes addressed the world from a broadcast station. "This is not a time for fear," she said, her voice calm but resolute. "This is a time for us to show who we are. We may be small in the eyes of the galaxy, but we are mighty in our hearts. Together, we will protect Earth." The message was clear. The people of Earth were not afraid. They were united in their determination to defend their home, no matter the cost. Behind the scenes, the leaders of Earth worked tirelessly, pooling their resources and knowledge to understand the true nature of the Empire's technology. For the first time, Earth's greatest minds came together to collaborate on a project of unimaginable scale. They were not simply trying to repel an invasion. They were trying to uncover the mystery of what made the Empire so powerful. The key to Earth's success was their ability to think differently. Earth's scientists had long studied the stars, But it was their creativity and ingenuity that set them apart from the Empire. Instead of relying solely on brute force, Earth's engineers focused on the unique properties of their own planet. They studied the way the atmosphere, the magnetic fields, and the planet's natural resources interacted, seeking to understand how they could use Earth's own environment as a weapon against the Empire. In secret laboratories and research facilities, Earth's top scientists began to uncover a breakthrough. They discovered that the Empire's ships were vulnerable to Earth's natural electromagnetic fields, which could disrupt their advanced navigation systems. This wasn't just a defense, it was an offensive strategy. By using the planet's own magnetic fields, Earth could send out waves of interference that would render the Empire's ships unable to function. It was a risky plan. The interference could affect more than just the Empire's ships. It could disrupt communication, transportation, and even weather patterns on Earth itself. But it was a chance they had to take. If they didn't act, Earth would fall. As Earth's scientists worked around the clock to implement this strategy, Ambassador Duran's impatience grew. His fleet had been in orbit for too long, and their resources were starting to deplete. Duran knew that if he didn't make progress soon, the Empire would lose its patience and take matters into their own hands. But what they didn't know was that Earth had already taken the first step in turning the tables. One night, as the Empire's fleet prepared for another attempt to break through Earth's defenses, something unexpected happened. A surge of energy flooded the Empire's sensors, causing their systems to glitch. Navigation systems malfunctioned. Communications were scrambled. The entire fleet shuddered as if struck by an invisible force. Duran's eyes widened as he saw his ships go dark one by one. "What is happening?" he demanded, as officers scrambled to assess the situation. The Empire's ships, once invincible, were now floating helplessly in space, unable to function. Back on Earth, President Hayes received word of the success. The electromagnetic pulses had worked. The Empire's ships were temporarily incapacitated. Earth had gained the upper hand. "Now we have their attention," Hayes said, her voice filled with both relief and determination. But this is just the beginning. The situation had changed dramatically. The Empire's fleet was no longer the unstoppable force it had once been. Earth's electromagnetic pulses had crippled the fleet's navigation and communication systems, leaving the Empire's ships stranded in space. What had seemed like a quick and easy conquest had turned into a stalemate. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire had encountered real resistance. Back on Earth, President Elena Hayes addressed the world once again. The news of the Empire's temporary defeat had spread across every corner of the planet. People cheered in the streets, but President Hayes knew this was not the time to celebrate. The battle was far from over. "We've shown them that we are not to be underestimated," she said in a calm yet firm voice. "But the Empire will not give up. We need to stay focused, stay strong. This is just the beginning." Meanwhile, on the flagship of the Empire's fleet, Ambassador Duran was struggling to maintain control. The damage to his fleet was significant, and the Empire's leadership was furious. The once proud fleet had been brought to its knees by a small planet's unexpected tactics. Duran's face was grim as he surveyed the damage reports. "This is a setback," he said, his voice filled with frustration. "But it is not the end. The humans are clever, but they are still weak. We will break them. We must." Despite his anger, Duran knew that the situation was far from simple. The Galactic Empire had never been challenged like this before, and the longer they remained stuck in orbit around Earth, the more they risked losing their reputation as the supreme power in the galaxy. In the Imperial Command Center, a new plan was forming. The leaders of the Empire realized that brute force alone would not be enough to conquer Earth. They needed to change their approach. Instead of continuing their fruitless attacks, they decided to send an envoy to Earth, someone who could negotiate a peaceful resolution, or so they hoped. It was a rare move for the Empire, known for its uncompromising rule. But Earth had proven itself to be an entirely different kind of challenge. Duran was selected to be the one to deliver the offer. His previous failures hadn't gone unnoticed, but the Empire believed he was the best choice to handle the delicate situation. He had seen Earth firsthand and understood that this was not a battle of weapons, but of willpower. The next day, a sleek Imperial shuttle descended from the fleet, landing on Earth's surface in a remote area. Joran, accompanied by a few high-ranking diplomats, stepped out into the open, his expression hard and unreadable. Waiting for him was a group of Earth's leaders, including President Hayes and General Marcus Doyle. They had prepared for this moment. Earth's greatest minds and leaders were ready to face the Empire's representatives, not with fear, but with a calm determination. Joran stood before them and began speaking in a voice that carried both authority and a hint of desperation. "We do not seek further conflict. The Empire's power is vast, but your planet has shown us that you are not like the others we have conquered. You are resilient, and for that, we respect you." President Hayes exchanged a glance with General Doyle before stepping forward. "We've shown you that we are not easily defeated. We did not ask for your ships to arrive, nor did we invite your presence. Earth will not bow to anyone, not even the Empire." Joran paused, his face betraying a flicker of uncertainty. "You misunderstand. The Empire is not interested in your submission. We seek only safe passage through your system. In exchange, we offer you something in return: technology, resources, and even a seat at the table of the Imperial Council. Your people would benefit greatly from such an alliance." The offer was tempting. For many on Earth, the chance to gain access to the Empire's advanced technology and resources was an appealing prospect. But President Hayes knew better than to fall for such a smooth proposal. The Empire's offers came with strings attached, strings that would only tighten over time, eventually leading to complete control. "We don't want your technology or your resources," Hayes said, her voice firm. "And we certainly don't want a seat at your council. What we want is our freedom to live as we choose, without interference. Your ships will leave Earth, and you will respect our decision." Joran's expression hardened. "This is your final chance," he said, his voice growing colder. "The Empire does not take kindly to refusal. If you do not comply, the consequences will be severe." President Hayes remained calm, refusing to back down. "We will never comply with threats. Earth's people will never submit to anyone." General Doyle stepped forward and added, "If the Empire cannot respect that, then we are prepared to defend ourselves. We've already proven that we are capable of doing so. We don't seek war, but we will not allow anyone to take our planet from us." Joran stood there for a moment, the weight of the situation sinking in. For the first time, he realized that Earth's strength was not in its technology or resources, but in its people, their unwavering spirit and their refusal to be intimidated. He could offer them everything the Empire had, but it would not be enough to break their resolve. Finally, Joran turned and walked back toward his shuttle. His mission had failed. The Empire would not have Earth, at least not without a long and difficult struggle. The battle was not over, but Earth had proven that it would not fall easily. As the shuttle lifted off and disappeared into the sky, President Hayes watched it go. "We've won this round," she said quietly. "But the Empire will not stop. We must stay ready." After the tense meeting between Earth's leaders and the Empire's envoy, there was a temporary sense of relief. The Empire had left Earth's atmosphere, retreating back to its fleet. For the first time since the invasion began, Earth felt a brief moment of peace, but President Elena Hayes and General Marcus Doyle knew that this peace was fragile. The Empire had not given up. They were just biding their time. Back on Earth, citizens celebrated their victory, cheering in the streets, confident that their planet had stood strong against the might of the Empire. It was a moment of pride for the people, but there was no illusion about the danger still looming. Earth had successfully fended off one attack, but the Empire was far from defeated. They had only retreated to plan their next move. The leaders of Earth gathered once again in a secure underground facility. "We cannot afford to let our guard down," President Hayes said as she stood before a large holographic map of the Earth and the surrounding space. "We've made our point, but the Empire will return. We need to be prepared for what comes next." General Doyle nodded in agreement. "We've learned from this first encounter. The Empire underestimated our resolve. But they're not a force that gives up easily. Their pride will demand a response." Scientists and military experts worked tirelessly to fortify Earth's defenses. The electromagnetic shield was strengthened, and new strategies were devised to counter any future attacks. The entire world was on edge, but they were united, ready to face whatever challenge lay ahead. Meanwhile, high above Earth, Ambassador Joran sat in his command ship, gazing out at the blue planet below. The words of President Hayes echoed in his mind. Earth will never submit to anyone. He knew that the people of Earth had proven something that had shaken him to his core. There was more to humanity than just their technology or their willingness to fight. There was a fire in them, a strength that could not be easily extinguished. Joran turned to his officers, a serious expression on his face. "We cannot ignore Earth any longer. Their resistance is stronger than we anticipated, but they are still nothing compared to the might of the Empire. It's time we prepare for a more decisive strategy." The Empire had long prided itself on its ability to conquer worlds without much effort, but Earth had proved to be different. The Empire had underestimated the power of unity, the sheer will of a planet determined to protect its home. And now, Joran and his fleet had no choice but to adapt. "We will make them an offer they can't refuse," Joran continued. "A final ultimatum. Either they surrender, or we will show them what true power is." Back on Earth, President Hayes and General Doyle were not idle. They knew that the Empire would not stay away for long, and they could feel the growing tension in the air. The world had come together in a way that had never been seen before. Leaders from every country, every corner of the planet, were working together toward one common goal: survival. The military had already begun preparing for the worst. New defense systems were installed, and the human-made satellites were upgraded to be even more effective. Earth's forces were ready to defend their home at all costs. General Doyle addressed the world's leaders in a televised message. "The Empire may think they can scare us into submission, but they are mistaken. We've seen their strength, and now they've seen ours. Earth will not fall. Our resolve is unbreakable, and we will protect this planet with everything we have." As he spoke, images of humanity's resilience flashed across the screen. Scientists working together, people from all walks of life, helping to strengthen the planet's defenses, and citizens standing side by side, showing their unwavering support for their world. Meanwhile, in the depths of the Empire's command ship, a different plan was taking shape. Ambassador Joran had sent a message to the Empire's high command, requesting reinforcements. He knew that a direct attack would no longer be enough. If the Empire wanted to break Earth's will, they would need to force a more powerful and undeniable hand. Back on Earth, the days passed in anxious anticipation. The world held its breath, waiting for the Empire's next move. Would they come back with an all-out assault, or would they attempt another diplomatic approach, like the last time? But as time passed, Earth's leaders began to notice something unusual. The Empire's fleet, which had once been a constant presence in the sky, had begun to move away. For days, nothing happened. The ships were silent, leaving Earth to wonder if the Empire had finally given up. It was a strange quiet, one that filled the planet with both hope and uncertainty. Had Earth's resistance truly worked? Was the Empire truly retreating? Or was this just a brief pause before the next, more devastating attack? In the command centers, Earth's leaders debated. "We need to stay vigilant," General Doyle said. "The Empire could be regrouping, preparing for a stronger assault. They won't give up so easily." President Hayes nodded, her face set in determination. "I know, but for now, we hold our ground. Earth has proven its strength, and will continue to prove it, no matter what comes next. The people of Earth watched from their homes, their eyes fixed on the sky. No one knew what the future would bring, but one thing was certain. Earth had shown that it would never be an easy target, and no matter how powerful the Empire was, humanity's will to protect their home was stronger. The quiet that had settled over Earth was beginning to feel more like an uneasy stillness than true peace. Every day that passed without further attack gave people hope, but there was always the lingering fear that the Empire was simply waiting for the right moment to strike again. The world remained on edge, as military forces kept watch and Earth's leaders continued to strengthen their defenses. In the heart of Earth's capital, President Elena Hayes stood before a group of scientists and military leaders in a high-tech underground command center. The tension was palpable. Despite the calm on the surface, every one of them knew that the Empire could return at any time. They had to be prepared for the worst, even if they hoped it wouldn't come. "We can't take our eyes off the stars," President Hayes said, her voice steady, but filled with the weight of responsibility. "The Empire may have pulled back for now, but they won't be satisfied until they've achieved their goal. We need to be ready for whatever comes next." General Marcus Doyle, standing at the head of the room, nodded in agreement. "The Empire may have been caught off guard by our resistance, but they're not a species that retreats forever. They'll regroup and try again. This time, we need to ensure that we can counter their next move before they even make it." The meeting was brief but important. Plans were put into motion to further enhance Earth's defenses. New technologies were being developed at a rapid pace, and the world's military forces were receiving the training and resources they needed to stand firm against any future invasion. Despite the preparations, however, President Hayes couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. The Empire's fleet had disappeared, but there were no signs of a new attack forming. For the first time, she allowed herself to wonder if perhaps the Empire had been taught a lesson. Maybe, just maybe, they had underestimated Earth's ability to defend itself. High above, in the depths of space, the Empire's fleet remained quiet. Ambassador Joran had been tasked with delivering the message of defeat to the Empire's leadership. His mission had failed, and the blow to the Empire's pride was more significant than anyone had anticipated. The once mighty Empire had met its match in the form of a small, unassuming planet. But now, as Joran sat in his personal quarters aboard the flagship, he could feel the weight of the situation. The pressure from his superiors was mounting. They demanded results. The Empire's reputation had taken a hit, and they would not allow such an embarrassment to linger for long. Joran's mind raced as he tried to come up with a solution. He had to find a way to break Earth's resolve. The idea of forcing Earth into submission through force was still on the table, but something told him that this was not the right approach. Earth had proven itself to be much more resilient than anyone had expected. Perhaps, Joran thought, there was another way. If the Empire couldn't conquer Earth through sheer strength, maybe they could win through diplomacy. They had tried it before, and it had failed. But Earth's leaders were strong-willed, and Joran now understood them better than ever. If there was any chance of reaching an agreement, it would require patience and careful negotiation. He began drafting a new proposal, one that was less about domination and more about cooperation. Earth had proven its worth. Maybe it was time to offer something in return. The Empire had vast resources and technology that could benefit Earth. Perhaps, if presented in the right way, the Empire could convince Earth's leaders to work with them, rather than against them. Back on Earth, the world continued to prepare for the worst, but the hope for peace never truly faded. The people of Earth were tired of war, of fear, of the constant uncertainty. They had come together once, united in the face of an outside threat. Perhaps they could continue to work together and find a solution that didn't involve bloodshed. In a secure meeting room, President Hayes met with General Doyle and a select group of Earth's most trusted diplomats. They had received an unexpected transmission from the Empire. It was a message from Ambassador Joran. The message began with a somber tone, but as it progressed, there was a hint of something different. "I have been instructed to open negotiations with Earth." Joran's voice echoed in the room. The Empire, while powerful, recognizes that Earth is not an ordinary planet. Your people have demonstrated resilience and intelligence beyond what we had anticipated. We wish to extend an offer. Let us come to the table and discuss terms of cooperation. The room fell silent as President Hayes listened carefully to the message. The words were carefully chosen, and there was something about the tone that made her pause. She could hear the sincerity in Duran's voice, but she knew better than to trust the Empire too easily. We need to approach this carefully, President Hayes said after a long pause. The Empire may be offering a truce, but we cannot forget the danger they pose. They've already shown that they will stop at nothing to conquer what they desire. We must tread carefully. General Doyle added, but this could also be an opportunity. If they are genuinely willing to negotiate, it may be our chance to secure a future where Earth is safe from their grasp. We don't have to fight forever. After much deliberation, President Hayes made the decision to respond. They would open negotiations, but Earth's terms would be clear. The planet would not bow to the Empire, but they were open to cooperation, on their terms, and only if the Empire respected Earth's independence. As the message was sent to Ambassador Duran, a new chapter began in the struggle for Earth's future. Would the Empire respect Earth's strength, or would they attempt to force the planet into submission once again? The next few days would decide. As Earth's leaders prepared for the possibility of an unexpected peace, the tension between hope and uncertainty grew. For weeks, Earth's people had been waiting for a response from the Empire. Ambassador Duran had opened the door for negotiations, but the question remained, could a lasting peace truly be achieved, or was this just another trick in the Empire's pursuit of domination? The entire world watched with bated breath as President Elena Hayes prepared to meet with Earth's top diplomats and military advisors. The message from Ambassador Duran was clear. The Empire was willing to discuss terms of cooperation, but the people of Earth knew better than to take this offer at face value. They had fought too hard, shown too much strength to simply surrender now. We have to be cautious, President Hayes said as she looked around the room. The Empire may be extending an olive branch, but we can't forget what they've already done. They've come to Earth with the intention of taking what they want. We can't let our guard down. General Marcus Doyle nodded, his expression grim. They've underestimated us before, but we can't rely on just our strength. If we're going to enter negotiations, we need to make sure our terms are clear. Earth will not be controlled by anyone. The diplomats agreed. This would not be a typical negotiation. Earth had already demonstrated its power, and now it was time to use diplomacy to its advantage. The message they would send to the Empire would be one of unity, strength, and above all, independence. Across the galaxy, Ambassador Duran waited anxiously for Earth's response. The silence had been long, and it was unclear whether Earth would agree to enter into talks or continue to stand firm in their refusal. But as Duran paced his quarters, a thought struck him. Maybe Earth's resistance wasn't just about defending their planet. It was about something deeper, something that even the Empire, with all its might, couldn't control. For the first time since his mission began, Duran found himself questioning everything he had been taught about the Empire. Earth had proven that they were not like any other species the Empire had encountered. They were resourceful, determined, and unwavering in their commitment to protect their home. Perhaps it was time for the Empire to change, not just in how it dealt with Earth, but in how it viewed the galaxy. On the day of the meeting, President Hayes stood in front of the world, her face set in determination. This was a pivotal moment, one that would define Earth's future. She knew that the decision to engage in talks with the Empire was risky, but the potential for a peaceful resolution was worth it. She only hoped the Empire was ready to meet Earth on equal terms. "We are a proud planet," she said in her address to the world, her voice strong and clear. "We have shown that we will fight to protect our home, no matter the cost. But we also know that peace is the ultimate goal. Earth's future must be one where we control our own destiny." As the transmission ended, Earth's leaders gathered to hear Ambassador Duran's response. The room was filled with tension as they awaited his reply. Would the Empire truly honor Earth's independence, or would they try to bend the planet to their will? The transmission from Duran began. His voice was calm but filled with resolve. I come to you now not as a representative of the Empire's power, but as a representative of its future. I have been instructed to offer you something different, something that the Empire has never offered before. A partnership, a chance to build a future together. The room was silent as Duran continued. The Empire understands that Earth cannot be controlled through force alone. We recognize the strength of your people and the power of your unity. If you accept, we propose a mutual agreement. Earth will remain independent, and in exchange, the Empire will provide resources, technology, and protection. We will not interfere in your sovereignty, but we will stand with you against any external threats. President Hayes listened intently. This was more than she had expected. The Empire's offer was not one of domination, but of cooperation. At least, that was how it seemed. She knew the decision was difficult, but she could sense that this could be a turning point for both Earth and the Empire. We accept your offer, Ambassador Duran, President Hayes said, her voice steady. On the condition that Earth's independence is always respected, no outside influence, no interference. We will stand as equals, not as subjects. A long pause followed, as Duran processed the response. Finally, he spoke, his voice filled with a rare warmth. We will honor your terms. Earth has proven its strength, and the Empire recognizes that. This is the beginning of a new era for both of us. As the message ended, Earth's leaders exchanged looks of relief and cautious optimism. The negotiations had been successful, and Earth had secured its independence while opening the door to a future of cooperation with the Empire. The road ahead would not be easy, but Earth had proven that they were capable of standing firm against the greatest empire the galaxy had ever known. And so, as Earth entered this new chapter of its history, President Hayes looked out at the stars. The battle for survival had been hard-fought, but in the end, it was humanity's unyielding spirit that had triumphed. Earth would remain free, and the future was now theirs to shape.